We all heard about the Stanford marshmallow experiment. In a display of scientific cruelty, a group of scientists decided that they'll just grab this set of kids and put a marshmallow right in front of them. And they were faced with one challenge. If they could wait for 15 minutes without eating the marshmallow, they'll have 2 marshmallows at the end. As you can probably imagine, most kids fail to resist the urge of eating that juicy marshmallow. Some of them were quite creative actually. They'll just lick the marshmallow, they'll just eat the insides and leave the shell right there so people would think that they didn't eat the marshmallow. But at the end of the day, most of them just failed miserably in resisting the urge for 15 minutes. That's a very common cautionary tale on delayed gratification. And it seems that we've learned from this specific experiment and other cautionary tales that in order to be successful in life, you have to delay gratification as much as you can. You have to be able to resist the urges, you have to be able to exercise your willpower. Bernardo here, and this week I will show you that you have no willpower whatsoever. Here is what most people think. In order to be successful in life, in order to be successful in your own personal endeavors, personal relationship, work, healthy eating, exercise, you have to resist all of the urges out there. You have to rely on your willpower and you have to say no to whatever gets you out of your track. If you have no willpower, you fail miserably. If you can control your willpower and you can resist your urges, you succeed. That sounds really compelling, but as most cautionary tales out there, that's much more complex than it seems. Roy Baumeister and his colleagues showed that willpower and exercising your own willpower is actually extremely exhausting and draining. Besides a control group, they had 2 groups facing one specific challenge. They would enter a room with the smell of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies and a bowl of radish. And half of these subjects, they could eat the cookies if they wanted to, and the other one, they had to resist the urge of eating the cookies even though they had all of that external influence of the smell acting upon them. They had to resist the urge of eating the cookies and they could only eat the radishes. After that, they had to solve a mentally draining puzzle, which in fact was impossible to be solved. And what was quite interesting with this experiment is the group that didn't have to exercise their willpower not to eat the cookies quite often spend an average of 20 minutes trying to solve the puzzle before giving up. Whereas the group that used their willpower in order to resist the urge to eat the cookies, they could only last an average of 8 minutes trying to solve the puzzle. Although quite controversial, that's one of the experiments that show a concept called ego depletion. The idea is that your willpower is like a battery that gets drained throughout the day. Mark Manson mentions in his book that this is called fucks to give. So you have an amount of fucks to give on every single day. You have an amount of willpower that you can use on every single day. Just like a battery, based on a few researches that are in case quite controversial, it seems like you have much more willpower in the morning than at night. It really hurts when you fail yourself. It really hurts when you fail to commit to a promise that you've made to yourself. But it hurts even more than if you didn't even try in the first place. And what is even worse in this case is that failing a commitment to yourself feels like a massive moral flaw. It seems that the trait of people who are successful in implementing healthy habits are the ones that can curate and control their environment instead of the ones who can resist the urges. And although controversial, the idea of ego depletion can help us create a framework and a set of steps that we can follow in order to curate our environment in a way that we don't have to rely on our willpower that often. Last week, I started experimenting with rescue time and stay focused. These are web browser extensions and apps, mobile apps, that will block websites and apps that you don't want to use whenever you are working, exercising, or just trying to have some me time. At first, I didn't even think that I was spending that much time with meaningless tasks. And as soon as I started using these tools, whenever I unconsciously alt-tabbed to to check my LinkedIn profile or my inbox or anything like that. That's the kind of screen that I would get. And that's the difference between not being able to do something and having to resist an urge. And there is an immense difference there. All in all, don't lie to yourself and say that you're going to resist every single urge out there. And moreover, don't beat yourself up if you fail to resist those urges. As we've seen before, the trait of successfully changing your habits is controlling your environment, not resisting any urges. Step up, change your environment, and gear up. Select the tools that will help you achieve those specific goals and curate your environment in a way that you won't be depleting your willpower on any given day. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me here. Let me know in the comments if you're looking forward to use any of these tools or any other tools to help you set up your environment for success. And as always, see you next week.